And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight I have a very unique and interesting special guest who I honestly, in full transparency, almost had the opportunity to meet in person, but schedules didn't align, and so it'll happen eventually. We are in the same state, so there is that likelihood. But with that being said, she brings something rather unique to the paranormal world. And so I am honored and blessed to have her on to share that with us. And so I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to turn it over to my guest, the one, the only travel arranger extraordinaire, Tay Hamm.
Hi, I'm Tay. I'm a paranormal investigator, but I also am a sort of travel guide in Texas, and I specialize in Texas haunted locations.
That's going to keep you busy.
Yeah. And the list is growing every day.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of curious with your work. Do you find that there are certain sections of Texas that may be considered more paranormal in your perspective than others?
I'm gonna say no, but areas like to boast that they are. You've got Galveston that has, a lot of tragedy, and then you have the Stockyards that has a lot of energy and activity. And then all these, rural areas as well that are, some of the oldest cities that we have in Texas. And they all want to say that they're the most paranormal, but it's as far as activity, I think they're all pretty equal.
No, that's pretty interesting because, yeah, I would have figured Central Texas may be more active because that's where the Texas Revolution took place. So
that's possible,
maybe,
yeah. And maybe on those locations, it is, but I don't know. As far as like a bunch of activity in one place, there's just the state's just so big, and there's so many different kinds of areas, different kinds of tragedies and energies left behind.
and so when you're looking at, putting things together for people to say, want just a basic paranormal experience to a wow, you may be running out of this location due to all the activity. What criteria do you gather and compile to show everybody?
So I only boast with places that I've been to and had personal experiences there myself. And I go to places around Texas pretty often. So I've either been there plenty of times, had my own paranormal experiences, and also on the other side, I explored the town a bit. I know the history of the areas, so I can give more information, and I'll tell you best place to get coffee the next morning, or where you can go on a midnight run, because Walmarts are not 24 hours. So it's a whole like investigative experience is what I like to build my criteria of. But as far as activity goes, it's just kind of up to my experience or my friends' experience, things I've heard. But I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody there's guaranteed activity, though. Even though there's at these locations, there's activity every time I go. So that's good.
Right. But yeah, we can't guarantee that. But I like the idea of the where to get the coffee and the midnight snacks, because inevitably you're going to need that info, because
absolutely.
comes around midnight, 1 a.m., everyone's like, are we done or are we going to go snack?
There's just a lot of things people don't really think about. And a lot of these towns, Sundays, everything closes down. Not even coffee shops are open in some of these locations. So that's what I put in like a travel pack with information. Is things like that you're not going to think of, things you'd like to know before you get there.
Yeah, like Ballinger and I
Hmm.
almost think Palestine, both of those, from my
Yep.
experience, the town closes early.
Yes, absolutely. But I've found like specific places that either stay open or, are open late enough.
No, that is extremely helpful because yeah, like you're saying, that's something when you're paranormal investigating, you don't plan ahead because you think in your head, oh, this is a large city, so to speak, because it's on the map, so there's gonna be stuff there, and then you get there and
Yeah.
it's like, huh?
Yeah. And I know a lot of paranormal investigators are pretty good at like roughing it, but I think I attract a lot of people new to the paranormal world. So I think they appreciate it a lot when I have like helpful tips that investigators just are, we know second nature. Oh, there's not going to be anything open, or bring this and things like that. But I think the people that are new to the world need the information more so.
Yeah, so when did you start all of this, and what was it that kind of got in your mind and was like, hey, you totally need to do this?
Well, I mean, I was paranormal investigating and I kept going to the same places kind of over and over because I liked them and they're in Texas. And I was just posting like funny videos. I don't know. And then it just kind of built. I wanted to guide people on investigations. And then, so that's kind of where it started. So maybe about a year ago was when I started like actually building the business end. And I wanted to just guide people through these locations because I was very familiar and I like the history around these towns, and I know, gunslinger stories, and it just built on from there. And then I was like, well, wait, these people are all new to the paranormal world. I like coffee. I like getting midnight supplies, and it just kept building on and on. And over time, I just decided to stick with Texas, stick with the locations that I like and I've been to, and I have contracts with a couple of them that I can book for you on behalf of you. Um, and hopefully that list is growing as well. But it just built over time. But it just started with making funny videos and going to the same locations time and time again.
No, I totally agree with that. And so, where, if if you were to sit down like this weekend and be like, oh man, that ghost hunting bug is nipping at me, I need to go on an investigation. What would be your like top two go to that you would be like, oh, this place will definitely help me scratch that itch?
I would say Hill House Manor in Gainesville. It is like an hour away from me. Everything else is at least like 2 hours away. Hill House Manor, it very much scratches the itch. Um, it's very easygoing, and I always have activity there. I've watched a few YouTube videos of other people going, and it seems like a lot of people just get a lot of activity at that house. And that one is probably top. And then also my other favorite is Texas Jailhouse in Palestine, and that one they close down to be a haunted house, and then they do a Christmas event as well. But any other time during the year, it's it's a fun place to go. It's not like it's a jailhouse built in the 1930s, so it's a different environment of ghost hunting, and I like that. But it's also very well run. There's bathrooms on site, which some places don't have that. And yeah, so Hill House Manor and Texas Jailhouse for sure.
Yeah, and the two unique things about those locations too that you may not find in other places is the Hill House Manor has a well that's covered, that's
Hmm.
lit up so you can see down, which is
Yeah,
kind of cool.
and
And
you
the
can see the
jail,
water. Yeah,
yeah, and the jail has a working door that they actually let you play with, and you can
yeah,
slam
the
it and open
twist.
it.
Yeah, they're just fun places to go. It's not just, and they're not like operational. Like I hate going to like an operational hotel, where there's like people staying regularly. It just doesn't feel like you can ghost hunt. But these places are easy to get in, easy to ghost hunt. It can be just you or a group of people, and you have enough room to spread out.
No, that's true. And one of the unique things about the old Anderson jail or Texas jailhouse in Palestine is they give you the history of the town, and the humorous part about it is it boasts to be the actual city of the dead because there's more dead people than living,
Mm-hmm.
and they're right by the cemeteries, and so they'll be like, yeah, go walk over to the cemetery, go check it out, it's
It's a
really
beautiful
large.
cemetery there.
Yeah, and it's separated out, and so depending
Mm-hmm.
on which section you want to go into, so it's interesting. And one of the things that you can do to break up, like you're saying, because you may go there many times, is you may say, okay, let's do the Civil War section of
Mm-hmm.
the cemetery and investigate. Next investigation, we'll do the 1900s and early 1900s, and and you can use that and break it up a little bit.
Absolutely. That's why I like places like that where they have other things to offer. And even the jail itself, you have two full floors. So, I mean, we spent a lot of time on the second floor. And then the next time we went, we spent like the entire night on the third floor and getting evidence. So, we got plenty to
Yeah,
split up and just come again.
yeah. And I mean, and there's trigger objects in the jail because they had the pink cell and they
Yep.
had the working shower, but I don't recommend using the working shower because it is on camera,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that camera is online, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. But I like the pink cell, the Monty Delk cell.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good story. I did I did an Estes method in that cell, and I was handcuffed, and uh, there was some answers that made pretty well sense. I've got it somewhere on my Facebook, but that was probably the most interesting Estes method I did in the jailhouse, and yeah, it was weird. It was saying there was something they were answering for sure.
yeah, and the way it's that jail is laid out is interesting too because it's like the office is right next to the cells, and so it's
Yeah,
like the guards would always literally be right on top of, and I'm sure that led to some scuffs, because it's
yeah,
like you literally had no privacy there.
yeah. And then the middle, like where the catwalk goes around the main cells, that one
Yeah,
always was interesting to me. That's where we slept, was in that main area, but like that was their life right there, and then to the table, and maybe they got to go out, but just small confined space, which I know is jail, but to me it's just a little extra at Texas
yeah.
Jailhouse.
Well, and the other thing that a lot of people may not realize is the jailhouse. They have like a section to the if you go upstairs to the third floor to the right, if I'm remembering the layout right, they've converted a lot of that over to like where you could spend the night there,
Yeah,
and they have electricity there. So if like you have condition where you need electricity to run equipment to help you sleep, they totally got you covered. You don't have to get a hotel like
yeah,
most
yeah,
places because they actually have running electricity. So that is a benefit too.
yeah. It's a comfortable stay if you're sleeping there. I know it built in the 1930s. It doesn't sound like it, but it was comfortable, and there's so many different places you can sleep. There's plenty of room. Obviously, it's a jail. Yeah, I've never had any weird things happen overnight, like while we're sleeping or anything.
Yeah. I had one investigation where I was with 3 other friends, and we were totally prepared to go upstairs and sleep upstairs. We had all picked out where we were going. And when it came time to call it a night, we're like, we're just going to crash in the lobby right in front of the door. And we just set up all our stuff and just crashed right there.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we're not walking up 2 flights of stairs to
Yeah.
go to bed. We'll just crash here. But they had a really nice setup of TVs where you could watch what's going on as well.
And they've moved that to the second floor now.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's probably better.
It's like when you go up the stairs, it's right there on the right in that room.
It's probably better that way because there were a few times where if you have team members that have a loud enough voice at a normal pitch, you would hear it come up from downstairs, and you'd constantly be like, that's the TV. That's the TV.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, did I just hear it go? Nope, it's the TV. So it's probably better that they moved it up.
Yeah. I don't know why that decision was made. I just know it when next time I went, I was like, oh, you have to go upstairs to watch them now. But yeah, I think it's more the way it's set up upstairs. It's just more organized. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, what's your opinion? Before I ask that, I should say, have you gone to Ballinger recently?
I have not been in a few months. I'm going to be there October 10th through the 11th. That's going to be my next, actually, self plug. That's my next ghost hunt event that you can buy tickets for. So that's all on my Facebook. But for Old Park Hotel, that's where I'm headed in October. I was itching to get back there. And that's an interesting town itself. One of those that just, like you said, closes down early and nothing's open on Sunday.
Yeah, because the reason I was going to ask is, if you've been there since the new ownership, have you noticed a difference? Do you feel like it's up some with the new or stayed the same?
Well, I never went with the old owners. My friend did, and she said there's a clear difference. But I've only, met the new owners. But I like what they've done with the place, absolutely. Yeah. But I couldn't tell you activity wise what's going on.
And as host, I'm gonna shamelessly plug the new owners of the old park are my friends, the Ghost Geeks, Chad Wendell. So shout out to him. And no, he doesn't pay me to do that. So he probably doesn't even know I just did that. But anybody out there, you can say you heard it from here.
Well, they have a Patreon where you can watch the cameras like 24/7. And so I thought that was very cool. I haven't done it myself, but they catch some weird stuff on camera pretty often.
Yeah, I've been noticing he's posting a little bit more often, asking people what they think, is going on. And it's kind of interesting. And one of the big questions, and I'll pose this out there for anybody watching, if you're a history person or if your family has been around the Ballinger area for ever, we are trying to figure out Bonnie Parker being born in Rowena, which is a stone's throw from Ballinger, but her name appears on the jailhouse records. And so we're wondering if it really was her in Old Runnels Jail.
Oh.
And if she ever stayed at the hotel, or if Clyde and her ever stayed at the hotel. So that's an interesting piece of history. If anybody has clues to that, let us know, or let the ghost geeks know, because we're all about preserving the history, but we want to preserve the right history. We don't just want to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, so and so was there because this name is that person." Well, could be another Bonnie Parker for all we know.
Yeah.
But
And it would make
we
sense that they would go right through that area, though, at least.
it does. And and I think the date was before Dallas, before they were in Dallas. So
Oh, yeah.
that's an interesting thing. And the women and the men, fun fact, were on separate floors in the same jail in the old Runnels jail. So that had to make that place even more interesting.
Yeah. It was weird. That area just has so many stories. There's outlaw stories, and I got to Old Park Hotel a little early for our investigation, and Chad was like, "Come on in," and I mean, he knew all the stories too. We were just chatting about the local history, so it's a very cool place, and he's got it all set up, where there's pictures of these outlaws and the story written out, and he's just got just a ton of cool stuff to look at. Part of it, it's like a nice little outlaw museum of people of outlaws that actually were in the Ballinger area, stayed at the hotel, or the area surrounding it.
Yeah, I've been trying to get over there. When Connie and Dan LaFave owned it, I had stayed in 7 of the 10 rooms that were available.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that was like the draw to doing Old Park Hotel, was you could pick a different haunted room each night to spend the night in. And so that
Yeah.
made it more fun. And from what I hear, Chad has actually opened up and cleaned out a few more rooms. I don't know
Oh,
how
yeah.
many more, but it's becoming more expansive. And so I'm wondering if he's ever going to have a stay in every room and you get a free night or something.
That would be cool. But they've done so much work on that building. And with there was damage, I guess, from a storm, and they had to take care of that too, on top of the initial cleanup and all that. So I think they've transformed it, and he's still
Yeah.
working on it.
Oh, they're always going to be working on it. But I
Yeah.
remember, well, and another thing about this is right at the top of the stairwell to go up to the second level,
Mhm.
when you turn left, there's a working bathroom there. So the Old Park Hotel does have one communal bathroom for
Mhm.
every room, I do believe.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one when we were there,
But
but I
I
liked I
will,
liked Oak Park.
yeah, I will tell you though, there is a few room. Well, when I was there was like one room that was down the stairs. If you went towards the back of the hotel where you could sleep, it was known as the Bonnie and Clyde room, actually. But that hall, you pretty much farthest from the bathroom. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind if you're going to book there. Book
Oh, yeah.
accordingly.
Not a long walk, but you're walking a little bit.
Yeah. If you're one of those that waits to the last minute, yeah, you're going to be wishing you hadn't.
I don't even remember where I slept. I slept on the couch downstairs. We had like a little sleepover. Um, yeah, I slept on the couch. We didn't go in. We didn't sleep in the rooms. So this time we're gonna sleep in rooms.
So, does he have it set up to where you walk in and there's like the store area or greeting
Yeah,
kind of
like
area?
the first room you walk into is like a storefront almost. Like that's what it does look like. It's got the you know bar
Shelves on the
looking,
wall?
yeah, and the shelves, and then yeah, it just goes both ways. One's to the hotel, and then the other one is to like the kitchen area, and then the comm room before that with the computer and security cameras.
Oh, so he put TV. He put like TV with the
Yes, and
cameras.
that's what you can watch on the Patreon is that feed.
Okay, yeah, because when we were there, you would always they would put the projector down, but you would have to set it up and
Oh,
run
no,
it,
he's got
and
it set up.
so that's really cool. And that's
Yeah,
actually a fun place to hang out is
it
the
is.
TV room because you can be in the air conditioning and watching and investigating at the same time. But
Yeah. Shelly from Everything Vaguely Paranormal, she was there when I went there, and she calls it ghost TV. She's like, I can watch ghost TV all night long.
yep. And then the kitchen, do they still have it as a self-service kitchen or
Yeah,
are they
yeah. As far as what I
okay.
can see, yeah, it's like a table, fridge, microwave, basic necessities and everything.
Yeah, so there was a funny story when Connie was, went in the kitchen one day. She and I would laugh about this, and if my name never appeared on a screen because I was logged in on a different account or something, I'd always identify myself because I would say to her, "How's the squirrel situation at the hotel?" And the joke was when it came close to harvesting season for the squirrels and everything, she would open up a drawer and it would be full of nuts. And
Oh
then
my
she would
god.
open up the drawer above it and it's full of nuts as well. And so she had to clean out these drawers constantly because the squirrels would be using them to store their nuts. And it's like,
Yeah,
this isn't part of your house, squirrel. And so, yeah, we just were laughing it up about the squirrels and the
it's
nuts.
funny.
But so, where in Texas, because you say you stay pretty much in Texas, where in Texas are some places that you know of, but you haven't been able to investigate yet?
So actually, Yorktown Memorial Hospital. I have not been there yet, and it's apparently a really cool place to visit. And I'm gonna be there New Year's Eve. That's another event that I'm collaborating with, and so I'll be there New Year's Eve. That'll be my first time there. I've been itching to go there. And Baker House. There's a few others. Stockyards I want to investigate more of. There's the basic Miss Molly's Hotel, and then some other places. Yeah, and Jefferson, Texas has a few old hotels. I stayed at the Jefferson Palace Hotel, which is fantastic, but there's also the Excelsior, and another one like across the street. So
The
a lot of
con.
random little places to check out that some of them I haven't been to yet.
The con is the one across the street,
That's it.
and
Yeah, the con.
that's the only one I haven't stayed in is the con.
I
And so
I want to, but I want to stay at the Excelsior first, and I'm actually going back to Jefferson in like 3 weeks, I think. So we'll be spending another weekend there.
that's pretty cool that you check it out because I usually end up in Jefferson around the HHL, the History Haunts Legends
Oh yeah.
conference. Have you ever attended one of those?
No, I haven't. But I saw didn't they just have one like a
They
couple weeks ago?
they do one in the spring around
Okay.
April, Mayish, and then they do one at the first or second weekend of November.
Okay, so I probably saw it advertised then for November.
But
So
yeah,
I might check that out.
so what the draw to the History Hunts and Legends is she does where you have speakers who talk about paranormal stuff, and some of them are authors. And so you get to hear their stories. And next to where the speakers are vendors, so you can go and get souvenirs, books, or candles, or different type of items, and then everybody goes to dinner, and then that night you walk and you spend like, I think it's like 15, 20 minutes at a location, and there's a team or a group of people there that'll show you how, what's the paranormal history of the place, or what's the how to use equipment or how to investigate. And so you then, and you get to 5 spots. They rotate between 5, and then everybody calls it a night. So I kind of call it like scouting. You get to
Yeah,
go
check
experience
it
the
out.
spot, see if it's worth going back to, and then go back. And Jody Breckenridge, I think is her last name, she hosts it, and she hosts the Jefferson Ghost Walk. And so the night before the HHL, she actually does a ghost walk of
Okay,
Jefferson. And so it's really cool. It's a
I
lot of
might do
fun.
that. I might look at the HHL this time. Yeah, November. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I love that Jefferson area. The whole town is just quaint, I guess, but it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, it's small and everything. And there's a question for you we haven't gotten to yet, but I'll let you answer. Rainbow Flame Wizard is asking, what's your most craziest story that you went through?
Um, I so most recently, the first time I was actually freaked out. Um, it was in April. It was actually on my birthday. I rented Hill House Manor in Gainesville just by myself. It was birthday gift to me. I was like, I'm gonna go just hang out by myself on my birthday and investigate. And I did. And I've been there alone, plenty of times, but I've never felt bothered. I don't know. It's like they just ignore me, and that's fine. But this time, and it doesn't sound um too crazy, but in living it in the moment, I was surprised. I went through the kitchen to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I just hear footsteps, boom, 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 like rushing towards me. And I'm sitting there, I'm about to turn around, and I'm like, I'm getting robbed. I'm about to die. Like somebody's coming in here to mug me. It was so loud, so prominent. I was for sure it was a living human that had broken in. And I was about to turn around and be like, you can't be here. What do you want? And there's nobody, not a single person anywhere. And I was just, and it's like, I know it's just footsteps, but it was just so, I was so sure that it was a living being making that noise. No, nobody was there, just me. So that was the first time I felt something weird at Hill House Manor. Like I said, usually they just like don't bother me, they ignore me. That time,
Yeah.
no, something was mad, I guess, that I was there. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't have like any physical crazy stories. I don't know if that's me being skeptical of things. I've had a lot of weird connections happen, like through Estes method. I've had people that don't know things that we did earlier in the house and in different locations. But like they'll say something through Estes method, and I'm like, it'll be so specific, and I'm like, that we just did that like hours before y'all got here. How did you even know about that? So I would love to say I've had like a chair thrown at me, but I just haven't. But it's just a lot of like things that I can't deny, and I consider those like the craziest experiences for me. And the footsteps, it almost pissed me off because I was like, I thought y'all liked me, but now I'm being intimidated. So I don't know. I would say that's the craziest. That was the first time I'd actually been like freaked out on a ghost hunt with something happening, and
Yeah.
it happened to be my birthday. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If they were just trying to, give me a fun day or not.
Yeah. And not to get overly personal or anything, but I've had experiences to where like something will make me feel uneasy, and I'll be like, forget it. I don't need to go to the bathroom anymore. I'm
Yes,
I'm
yes.
I'm done. I'm out. Let's just go figure what's going on out here. and it's like the body's like, nope, we ain't going.
Yeah. It's easy to just be like, okay, not wanted here. Okay.
Yeah. And Rainbow is saying, oh, they believe you. What do you think it was? Like, or
I mean,
what the footsteps were?
it was something. I mean, I can't say it's residual because I've been to that house so many times, different parts of the year, different parts of the day, morning, night, everything. And I've never heard rushing footsteps before. So I do think it was probably something intelligent. I don't know why. I don't know. Just
Well,
something that was territorial.
here's something to consider, though, as well is maybe it wasn't the spirit that normally is at the Hill House.
Yeah.
Maybe something was brought in or passed by and noticed and came in to check it out.
Just got mad at me. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell because that's all that happened. And then obviously the vibe was a little off, like for the remainder of my time there that night, but I can't say that's because of something that was there. It's probably just me, being a little freaked out. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
What do you think of the murder claim that they say happened there? Do you think it did or no?
So there's no records of anything before some early 1900s, because of course there was a fire or a flood, and that's how all these old towns got their records destroyed. I really think it was a fire in Gainesville. But either way, it was a fire or a flood. All their records are destroyed. So the only reason we have that information is from psychic mediums. So it's kind of, who do you believe? What evidence do you believe? I bet there was a murder there. There's no reason for there to not be. There's no way to know who it is without investigating. But they didn't have a name or anything to go off. They're just pretty sure that there was a murder there based on what psychic mediums had said and through some evidence, I'm sure, of investigators. Because people have been investigating that house since at least like 2009. That's how far back the pictures that I saw like on Facebook went. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they found out about like names and stuff wise.
Yeah, and so you mentioned Yorktown, and that actually was my very first investigation, and I've been there 5 times.
Oh, wow.
It's a interesting place, and all I will say is I took a brand new Ovilus there, used it that night, and when I left, I now had to plug in the Ovilus to a battery
Hmm.
to make it work. It will
Yeah.
not work otherwise.
That's so funny.
So,
But I don't know. I'm
and
excited. I don't know what to expect except, the basics. But I'm
yeah,
excited to check it out and see what activity comes up.
and a friend of mine reported that when they were there, they had the sounds of bee swarms
Hmm.
in certain areas. So they said they never saw the bees, but they would hear like the buzzing of the bees, and so it's interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if that would be like the hum of a machine or something. I don't know what technology they would have had before it was abandoned. I haven't done my whole history rundown, my research on it yet.
Well, and here's the thing that we don't think about paranormal wise is why couldn't it be ghost bees?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you
We
really never
never,
know, or if that's just residual energy left behind, just buzzing
yeah.
bees. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna listen for it now.
And so, also in Jacksonville, you talk about the Bolton House.
Oh yeah, that is a very active house. Um, we've gotten a lot of names coming through. Just it's hard to say who's haunting it from my perspective. If somebody else has better evidence, go for it. Let me know. But I don't know who's haunting that house. I just know it's active. And Becky posts, security footage of things like just being downright thrown off the shelves. I think the other day she had a cat ball that was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's like flicked away, and that's just from the security cams when she's not there. Again, I have a lot of luck with like Estes method, and it's interesting because Bolton Street house is another place where it said some things that made sense with what the people around me were talking about. They were like, one of them, they were like, what's that guy's name? David or something? And then I come through like 10 seconds later and I go, Dave, very clear. And I don't know who David is, but that was at Bolton House. And it's just, I've had a lot of luck with Estes method there. So I do think there's intelligence in that haunting, but I can't tell you who or who it would be, because I don't think the Boltons died anywhere near the house. They're buried nearby. And then when it was abandoned for quite a few years, who knows what happened, inside that house. I'm sure there was a lot of death, throughout those years.
Right. And part of me wonders with the Bolton Street house if some of the activity, and I don't mean this to sound like nothing happens there, but she has a particular doll there that has a connotation and a certain persona that comes with it. And I'm just going to tell y'all, it's Robert the doll. It's
But
not
when did she
the
acquire
Robert.
it?
Well, but I wonder sometimes, like, some of the activity that's like when they say like it's footsteps or something.
Mm.
I wonder if the mind is like, well, Robert the doll is right there. Is it the
Yeah.
doll, and your mind is making the doll do something even though it's not? And I wonder, how much does it play into the activity there, or does it not? And it just sits there and people make it do stuff, like kind of like a pareidoia effect where
Hmm.
the mind is like, oh, this haunted doll is here.
I
We're
mean,
going to get activity. And it's
it's
like,
going to depend on the person, I would
yeah,
hope. Because I mean, where he's sitting up the stairs, that little hallway. I mean, we were in the servants' quarters, and I mean, we heard talking and like not running footsteps, but footsteps, or like you just said, right near where that doll was. And it's like I know I heard that, but I don't. I don't know, because if he's an extension of Robert the doll, how it depends on if you believe that, but I'm super skeptical of things like that, like certain dolls that aren't the original or something like that, but maybe that area is particularly active in the house and that's just where she put the doll. I don't know, but it's funny that I definitely heard footsteps and talking, like whispers, just from that area right outside the lavender room. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting to think about, because you've got people that are probably in it for the thrills, and they're like, "Oh, I heard something by Robert the doll," but then you've got people that are skepticism and um, rational based, and it's like, no, I definitely heard something by Robert the doll, but I just try to block him out. I just pretend like he's not even there, because I don't know. And now she has an Annabelle copy in the seance room, and it's the movie. Or no, I don't. She has a couple of different. She's got a lot of dolls in that house, but she does have an Annabelle copy in the seance room now. So that one's kind of freaky, but I don't know.
yeah. I've often wondered when people like manufacture and make the duplicate dolls, is there any actual uh what's the word I'm looking for, chance of activity being contributed to the original doll being transferred into the copies, Or do you think the copies are themselves and no way Annabelle is like sitting there going, okay, there's 50 dolls over there that look like me. Here's 50 little pieces of me. Go do your thing, live up the legend.
I mean, that's
Keep the
exactly
legend
where
alive, guys.
well, that's exactly where I'm caught up with it, because it's like I don't really believe that the copies would have something attached, especially like from the original source. But I mean, there's no reason not to. I don't know. It's just the logistics. Like, how do they know one is being made? And they know I'm supposed to haunt that one, down in Texas. So I don't know. I'm, yeah, pretty up in the air, because it just kind of it opens up more questions and what you personally believe, rather than just, oh, they can or they can't.
Yeah, and here's an interesting thought too when we, talking about like attachment is, let's say Robert the doll, you have one and a piece of the arm gets torn. And you happen to be by the original Robert the doll in Key West, and you talk to them and they're like, yeah, we happen to have this, extra that, was found with him. Do you want to use this to patch? In which case, does that now undo to the copy part of the original?
I
And
don't
what would
know.
happen if, you started taking pieces from the original to mend copies? Would,
I would
you be spreading it, or would
I
you
would
just
say if
really
it's
off?
real that um taking a copy from the original would hold whatever haunting was there. I mean, and can they separate themselves like that? Or are they just, I'm inhabiting this doll and this doll only? I don't know. Again, it just opens up so many more questions than answers.
It does. And it also, I find it interesting because it used to be you had haunted dolls, and that was that. Now there's haunted dolls, vessel dolls,
Mm-hmm.
different dolls doing different things, and it's like, how, why, when did the doll become more than a doll?
I think it just gained popularity, and it became an easy thing to be afraid of and an easy thing to entertain people with. And then, of course, the Annabelle movies, like, there's the original Annabelle story, but the movies just, which I liked the movies, I'm not going to lie, but it was more entertainment, and people want to be entertained. And dolls just became, the next means of paranormal entertainment.
Yeah. So when you go to a location, like for me, for example, if I'm walking around and I stumble on like a doll room, I will not go in that room alone. I will back off, walk the other way until it's like I have to go through there to go maybe to another section. But I'm like, if I don't have to go in there, I don't go in there. Do
Same.
you? So you're the same way? You avoid doll rooms if you can?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's just a lot of eyes, and I don't like it. But I don't think they're all haunted, if that makes sense. I don't like dolls. I've had to like desensitize myself to dolls. If I'm going to go to these places, there's going to be doll rooms. So I've just kind of gotten used to it, but I don't like dolls. But I don't
Well,
think every single one of them is a vessel for a haunted soul or something.
yeah, I don't think that's what freaks me out. Why I don't want to go in there is I don't like going in and you're seeing like the dark rings around the hole where the eye is supposed to be, and you're like, there are no eyes in that thing that's looking at me. It's like that's what's
Yeah.
creepy. Is it's like your mind all of a sudden is like, this thing is looking at me and it has no eyes.
Yeah. Well,
Things,
even if they have eyes, it's still, I don't like it. It's like, why are you looking at me? And they're all just staring. It's, yeah, just
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I don't know.
Especially the ones where the eyes are painted in such a way that you know they're looking straight forward, but you
They
swear when you move
follow.
slightly off that the eyes are following you.
Yeah, which is a cool trick, but yeah, not in a haunted house.
Yeah. So besides Yorktown, where are some other places that you wish to get to that you haven't been to yet?
I definitely want to explore stockyards more. I said that earlier, but there's, there's the tunnels underneath where they would, you know, track the animals. I don't know. And there's a lot of different random places in stockyards that I think will have good energy. And Miss Molly's, I'll always go back there. And then I
That
want
one,
to do what?
Miss Molly's, I have issue with because it's right over a bar, and so
It's
you really
loud.
don't get to start investigating until like 2, 3 in the morning when they turn all the music off. Because
Yes.
otherwise, you feel it coming up through the floor, and it's like, yeah, I really can't investigate right now.
Yeah.
And
I
so
mean,
it's kind of like a little disappointing because it's like I want to investigate, but I can't because the bar.
well, and we went on a Monday night, and it was a little better because the music went off at 2, but there was just like hardly anybody out. But then I went on a Saturday night, and I mean, there were people out just loud till 4 or 5 a.m. Like, we just kind of went to bed and we still couldn't sleep. But again, I've gotten good spirit box and Estes method responses inside. So I'm like, it's a cool place. But I agree. It was just too loud to investigate, and your equipment isn't gonna, work the same because there's electricity under the floorboards right there. You can't, like, we had tripwire laid out, and it just would go crazy all night, like pretty much no matter where you put it. But I mean, just kind of, it's one of those places where maybe you need a travel guide to tell you what the issue might be,
Like
and that's
gear
just
to
one of those
pick.
places I just kind of go back to, like, uh old school ghost hunting, and just enjoy being there because it's still a really cool place to check out, and there is
Oh,
activity. It's just hard
it
to,
is,
yeah.
and one of the fun things we did one of the nights we were there, I think it was close to Christmas time, was you could stand on the staircase at a certain level to where you could see the door, but they couldn't see you. And we were just watching all the people go by from
Yeah,
the clubs or the restaurants, and people would like do the funniest things thinking nobody's in the place, and it's like we're sitting there just watching it be like, oh my god, this is hilarious.
yeah,
And at some points we even were like, we should totally be filming this because this is gold right here. We could be on
yeah.
like America's Funniest.
It's a cool layout too, just the way it goes up, and then the rooms are, it's very communal, again, with the communal bathrooms and everything.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I like it. I would definitely go back at least,
yeah.
but not on a Friday or a Saturday.
Well, and I've investigated it twice, and I knew, after the first
Mhm.
time what the conditions were, and so it's not enough that it would stop me from investigating, but it's also, yeah, like, that's another thing. Like, if you had a paranormal guide who, you book these things through, would be like, not only saying, hey, here's the times that you can actually investigate, but also be like you're saying, here's a list of equipment that works here. Here's a list of
Mhm.
equipment that won't work due to these conditions. And it's like you can try it at your own if you want to try it, but
Well, and
yeah,
that's why I felt a little qualified want to be a travel guide is because I have investigated these places myself. You know, I do know what works and the problems you might run into. So I think, especially people, like I said, people newer to the field, you know, they should appreciate that you know, there's actual advice there. It's not just somebody being like, oh, go to Miss Molly's, it's amazing. It's no, it's great, but also here's the things you need to know. So
Yeah.
it's like an honest, but still, you know, advocating for these haunted locations.
You know, and something else that you might consider with being the guide type person, you know, with the travel and everything, is also the hey, here's a list of equipment that's available. Here's a list of equipment that you'll probably actually use.
Hmm.
And because people always will say when they get started, they're like, I went and bought this because I saw it on TV. Yeah, you're never going to use that here.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
This was expensive. Yeah, you should ask somebody.
yeah.
But nobody knows who to ask. And so, you know, that might be something, you know, worth, you know, including on like a
I might,
website or
yeah.
something
If I can
is,
compile a good enough list, I'll include it for sure. Because I mean that, yeah. Now that I think about it, there was a lot that didn't work at Miss Molly's, but there was a few pieces that totally did. And like trigger objects, you know,
yeah.
cigars and playing cards and stuff. Those are different trigger objects for different locations as well.
Well, and one of the, I kind of started to call them the unsung paranormal equipment because it's super cheap. They get lost a lot, but because they're super cheap, people don't care. It's the cat ball.
Yep.
Because everybody looks at it and they're like, this is no way going to be paranormal equipment. And I have been on 2 or 3 investigations now where I was like, man, if it wasn't for those cat balls, I would question if anything was actually going on
Yeah.
because they actually do work, and it's amazing because if you put them in the, so you got to put them in the right places though. Like if you put them on a floor and it's a pier and beam, I'm sorry, any step they're gonna go off.
From pretty far
Like,
away too. That's the thing. In these old houses, you can be across the room and still set it off if it's the right setup.
yeah, but like a slab, yeah, you're not gonna set it off, especially if it's in like wedged on something
Yeah.
on the floor. It's like something had to move it. So there was no
Yeah.
like, even if you did a tap dance, you're not moving it because it's wedged.
Yeah.
And I even had one location where it went off like 4 times. Like the second it ended its cycle, it started it up again right on
Yeah.
you. And I was like, did it 4 times. And I was like, I have never ever seen a cat ball do this. I can't
Yeah.
explain that away.
I use them to like gauge if there's any activity even happening. And then I don't like using them to answer questions so much, like yes and no questions and everything. But I mean, I've gotten just like, let us know you're here and, you know, it'll go off. So I've
Yeah,
definitely used cat balls just as like the beginning of the investigation. Like, let's see what happens. I don't like a
I
lot of equipment at one time. Some people want to like pack the place up with all kinds of equipment at once. I like to give very specific options for ghosts to interact with, and kind of leave it at that for a while, and then maybe we'll switch it around later. But cat balls is
yeah,
always one of them.
yeah. I think the problem is so many people are like, "Oh, I had this go off." Well,
Hmm.
did you have any other equipment running to validate what made that go off? Well, no.
Yeah,
Oh, and it's like, well, what difference does it make if you have a cat ball with a REM pod and a K2, or a REM pod and the cat ball, or just a cat ball? I'm like, it's only going to trigger the one object. So it
yeah,
doesn't matter what else is there. So, yeah. And like, people are like, oh, you use the phone app. well, are you using multiple phone apps to make sure that what you're getting is what you're getting? It's like, well, you
Yes.
can't guarantee that. So it's
People
like,
hate
no.
me when I start talking about the phone apps because I believe they can be manipulated by spirits. I really do. But I think a lot of it that's coming through is just word bank, things being pushed through by the app itself. But like you said, if you have two phones that have, I don't want to say any of them on here, but two phones with one specific app on, and they both say something identical that has like correlation to what's going on, that is evidence. But if
Yeah.
it's the ones that spit out the same things. It's like, I'm from the 1700s. I'm right behind you. Like the same phrases I've seen, because that's why I
Yeah.
used it so much, was to track what it's saying. And then people will come in and be like, oh my God, it said this. And I'm like, it says that all the time. Like when I turn it on, it's the same phrases. So,
Yeah.
but I do believe they can be used. But like you said, you have to have something else. Like you can't just, and people use it like it's, a Bible. They believe every single word that comes out, and I can't bring myself to trust it that much.
Well, and what I was a little disappointed with the Ovulus was they sell it as a device that's supposed to translate the energy waves of what they're saying into words.
Yeah.
So you're thinking what it's saying is it's reading the energy and saying, "Oh, they actually said good. Wow, that's really cool." But then you learn when you really, get to know it and talk with people who have used it, it has a set database of words in it that it
Hmm.
cycles through. So it's not actually reading what's the energy out there. It's just cycling out words. And
Yeah.
so I kind of got disappointed with that and felt a little like almost like I'd want to say falsely advertised because it's not picking up
Yeah.
something from, the air. It's running a word bank.
Yes. Now, do you have Apple or an Android?
I had the droid.
Okay, me too. But Sean Austin, he's a demonologist. He came out with an app called SPI. It might be available for Android now, but it was available only for Apple for a while. And it was supposed to do the same thing, where it, reads the energy. I don't know how that works scientifically, but now that one, we never got the same thing twice. I will say that. I'm not going to full force, say it's actually true, but I've never gotten the same word twice on that one, except maybe like yes and no or something like that. But none of these phrases. And it's called SPI, and I wish I remember what it stood for. But Sean Austin, he was great. But that was the only one where I was like, okay, because my friend would leave it on as she slept, to see what would come through, and it would just be different stuff like every night because she would do it sporadically. So
Yeah.
I'm more keen to try that one out a lot more and see.
The one that got my attention actually recently was Spirit Talker
That's the one I didn't
because,
want to name.
well, I found it interesting because everything is always like 2, 3 words and then it's done. This is like you're getting full sentences, so it's you kind of like I kind of feel like this is more could be legit EVP talk, but still I know it's somewhat generated and sometimes makes sense, sometimes doesn't. So,
Well,
phone apps are, what they are, but
that's the exact one I was talking about, and that's the one where it's the same phrases over and over. So it might be like full sentences, but I rarely get unique phrases on that one. And I don't even pay attention to it, but I have it on in haunted locations just to see what comes through. And that one, for me particularly, it's the same thing over and over until it's not. You know what I mean? So there might be like something that pertains to what's going on, but then it'll just. And then another thing people can do, I'm not going to tell you which one I did this on, but I implore people to start timing, like in your own house, not like in a place where there's probably ghosts talking. In your own house, turn on the app and time how often something gets spat through. Because on one of these, it was every 30 seconds or 60 seconds, like on the dot, something would come through. And I did it for like 4 minutes in a row. And I was just like, why? Like, that's not, so I just urge people to do some investigating of their equipment. Check out your equipment in a control space like your house, and time how often things come through, and just see which one you think is fake.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And one of the things too is, trying to think how to word this. So when you go on like military ships, it's really hard to use some of the equipment because even though the ships are deemed derelict, there's still power, or there's still, function to some of the areas and not the others. But you're in a metal container, basically. So if one room had electricity, the entire ship pretty much is going to be an electric charge. So your equipment is going to go off.
Yeah.
And you're going to get false positives only because that's the condition. The visionary Eric J says downloaded SPI on my Android. So it is
now,
on the
did you download it right now, or have you had it and used it? Because I want to know what people think. Because I like that app. I just haven't used it enough to test it out a lot, but it showed the most promise.
Yeah, I kind of have gotten away from anything that generates words.
Mm-hmm.
And my beef with like the SB7, I ended up giving mine away. I gave mine away personally because I don't like the static.
Yeah.
Visionary says just now. He did it just now. But the SB7, so I am confident it's probably a great piece of equipment, but when you say listen and hear what's coming through and you have static on the bottom, all I can hear is that white noise static. And I would be on investigations and I'd be standing there and I'm like, I'm listening to the static and I'm about to walk out of the room and everybody would go, oh my God, it just said your name, Michael. And I'm like, I'll be honest, I didn't hear crap. So I don't know if it did or didn't. And
I do think a lot of people hear what they want to hear. But a lot of times I've had luck with the SB7 where it's just so clear. And I recorded sessions. Like I would, put my camera up and record the session. And I have actually a few on YouTube where it's just so clear, what they say. And sometimes it'll have like, cuss words that you can't say on the radio. But I agree that I absolutely think a lot of people, a lot of the time, are hearing what they want to hear. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I will say one of the greatest apps that I've found kind of lately for investigating is actually the voice memo that comes on the cell phone.
Yes.
Because it just sits there, records audio for as long as you're running it. And
that's what it's meant to do. There's no gimmick, it's just meant to record. Yeah. So it's what else, like ghost hunting equipment sometimes goes too tricky with it, trying to predict what a ghost would say, but something like a recorder is just so straight based that I find that more trustworthy when you use just basic equipment. You know what I mean? Like a simple recorder or a voice memo.
Well, and the nice thing about it on the phone is, let's say you're in an investigation and you record, say, the infamous 2 minute burst EVP sessions where you record 2 minutes of question and answer,
Hmm.
and you actually get a response. You can go in on your phone and slide the thing to where you have the question being asked, the answer, and then you have the option to put the next question start and trim it. And then you can share it right out and say, hey, what do you all think this is? And it's like super easy. It's
Yeah.
almost like foolproof, but I have the hardest time with doing that with evidence because I feel like when I go to post, like, let's say I got a EVP on an audio recording, and I go, hey, here's a 30-second clip of this 2 minute clip. In the back of my mind, I can't help thinking, what happened on the other minute, 30 seconds? Why isn't that included? And did
But if you
this
post the
happen
whole
in this
thing,
way?
if you post the whole minute and a half, people will be like, well, it's boring. And it's like, well,
Yeah,
it's what it is.
I know. It's like
A lot of
nobody wants
nothing.
to watch the whole thing, but then I always sit there and go, but how many times when this is trimmed down and edited down do they go, oh, this is edited. So how do we know he didn't take something from here from somebody
Hmm.
else, put it in here, and voila, now he has an EVP. And it's like that's the problem I have, with the mindset of how do you determine what to post, what not to post,
Hmm.
and how do you please, yourself and knowing I'm putting out, a great thing. This is, I stand behind this, and sit there and know this is going to get nitpicked by everybody because they're going to say, oh, this has been edited. How do we know you didn't fake this? And it's like, really?
Well, and that's why if people are going to post online and try to build an audience, they have to build that trust first. And a lot of people, when they get big or something, they just lose the community of it. They lose the trust behind it. People are now following them for entertainment, but I feel like people follow investigators for their evidence, and so there's a lot of trust involved between investigator and audience. And I always put on those because I do trim them down. I do try to put a note that says like edited for time only. I forget how I word it, but just in a way where it's like, okay, I clearly edit it for time, but as long as the answer came after the question that I asked, I feel like you just gotta throw it out there and see, yeah, because people do,
Yeah.
they nitpick.
Yeah. And I'm kind of curious, as a paranormal investigator, when you watch like the paranormal TV shows, if you watch them, do you feel like they do a service to the paranormal field, or they are more pure entertainment and not really doing service to the quality of paranormal investigating? It's more bringing entertainment awareness.
Well, and there's a great divide in that, whereas some people are investigating real and some people are purely entertainment. I don't know if I should like bash people's celebrities. Let's say there's some celebrities that are clearly entertainment purposes, but they represent the paranormal world to people who aren't really, involved with it. And then there's other celebrities that are clearly investigating. They try to debunk things. So it's just, I don't personally watch a lot of shows out there. I have a little kid, so it's hard for me to sit down and watch shows, but it does kind of suck that there's a lot of entertainment out there that's not actually investigating. Even on YouTube, I've noticed there's a lot that do it for entertainment, and it's just kind of hard to decipher, because your audience size gets bigger and bigger, and that draws in more people who aren't as into the paranormal as your original audience was. Your first audience is going to be people that are really into it, and there's a line that gets crossed into entertainment, and it's probably different for everybody, but it does suck that those people kind of represent us as a whole to the world.
Yeah. And talking about shows, like, you mentioned, having a child. I sat back and realized one day, looking at like cartoons that I watched as a kid, and going, oh my God, I totally missed something so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
How did I miss this? And what it is like, so I watched cartoons like Funky Phantom, which was a ghost from the 1700s who was helping these kids solve mysteries.
That's
Then you
cool.
had Scooby Doo doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
there the ghosts were real people.
Yes.
Then you had Casper, but where I'm going with it is there have been ghosts in cartoons pretty much every decade, but
Mm-hmm.
yet we sit there and we say, well, nobody really noticed ghosts on TV until certain paranormal shows started. And I'm like, no, they're not the ones that started it. All these cartoons did, but we're completely oblivious to the fact we're looking at a ghost
Yes, it
talking to
doesn't feel the
people.
same.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and they're
like
so
I look,
serious now. All the shows, they're all serious, and I'm not a serious person. So like the cartoons would have been, more at my alley, but it's just whoever's attention it grabs.
yeah. And I can't help wondering, like realizing now, watching ghosts in cartoons, is that what kind of planted that paranormal bug
It's very
and
possible.
grew later? And it's like that seed came from watching these shows as a kid and just never realized that that was there. It's like, but have you ever done that to where you go back and you watch something that you watched like as a kid or a young adult and you're like, oh my God, I am totally, researching that now. How did I not know this was in this show?
Yeah. I mean, I watched a lot of Hey Arnold when I was younger, and looking back on it now, a lot of the problems that they faced are like real adult problems. And but as a kid, watching it, it was fun. But yeah, just things you don't
Yeah.
notice. And it is different just watching it from a different perspective, different age.
Well, and I kept hearing people talking about a specific show that they watched as a kid, and they were like how cool it was and everything. And I was like, I had never heard of it, and I don't know how I never heard of it, but it was the Magic School Bus.
Oh yeah, I've watched that a lot.
And
Yeah.
I was like, and somebody, I was talking with somebody, I was like, what is this? And they go, well, it's about this teacher who takes her class on a school bus that shrinks down or transforms into different things, and they go on these adventures. And I'm like, how did I never hear about this?
That
That
was
sounds
weird.
so cool. And so I went and looked for it, and I found it on some streaming service, and I watched like a couple episodes, and I was like, God, I wish I was a kid right now where I could sit down and watch this show because this
Yeah.
actually does look pretty cool.
We watched it in school. Like they would show us episodes in school. It was very much in my childhood.
Yeah, my show for education was like Wishbone.
I liked
I
Wishbone, yeah.
it was nice how they did it. It's like they told the story without telling you that they were going to educate you through a story.
Yeah, and it always
Like,
related to like the real world problem they were having, and yeah,
yeah,
I
and
loved
it came through
Wishbone.
a dog. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like the dog is telling this story and is playing these characters, and you're like, how is this so entertaining? But it is.
yeah,
The little dog.
I loved that show.
Yeah. I miss those kind of shows, actually.
Yeah, now it's kind of high stimulating cartoons and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But, so we're actually approaching an hour and a half. And so I know you probably want to get inside and get, back together with your friends. And I do appreciate you taking time out to do this.
Yeah, thank you for
But
having me.
yeah, you mentioned that you have. I think we've talked about the two upcoming ghost hunts, but you
Yeah,
also said paracons. So, do you want
yes.
to take a moment and promote those?
I don't have my list in front of me because it's all online. But if you go to my Facebook page or my profile, Tay Hamm, um, it's pinned. It's the pinned post. It's got all my upcoming ghost hunting and all my upcoming paracons, and I've got them linked. You can click and you can buy your tickets there. So it's the pinned post on my profile, and that's got
Trying to see.
everything that's coming up. Because there's a few.
Yeah,
It's too many to remember right now.
I'm going to try and get on there,
Oh
and
yeah,
for some
pulling up.
reason, it's not wanting to let me in. But I found your page, not your profile. Is it
It
on
would
the
just be
page
Tay
or is it on the
Hamm.
profile?
It's on the profile, Tay Hamm, which you could
Okay.
probably
Oh, yeah.
find through the page.
Yeah. Well, actually, I found it direct, and you have upcoming public ghost hunts. You have that you talked about. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Upcoming paracons. You
I think
have
Spooky Spectacle is next. Is in Granbury. I think that's the
um
first one.
yes, because the one just went by. So
Yeah.
yeah, spooky spectacle. I'll be checking that one out too. Then you have the Central Kansas Paracon,
Yes.
September 25th, 26th, 27th, and Haunted Rock Island Roadhouse.
It's in
That's September,
Illinois.
October 3rd. And then you have Cajun Country Paracon, March 6th, 2020. Well, that's 2027. Do
Yeah.
we want to Do you want to
And
save
then
those or just list those out since we're already listing?
no, that's all of them for right now. Through March 2027. Actually, I have another one in June 2027 that isn't up there yet because we didn't have the info. But
Actually,
those
you
are, I
got
mean, those are gonna be
April.
fun.
You have April and October 2027.
Do I?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
you have.
October will be the Axeman in New Orleans, I believe, is on there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
April 3rd is the Paranormal Unplugged 2027 in Quad Cities, USA.
yeah. So there's a lot. I keep it updated and then I delete them, as they pass. But that's where you find everything. There's just so many, and they're all called something different and interesting. So it's hard to remember exactly what's what. But I mean, it's a good spread out area. I've got Texas, Kansas, Illinois, New Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll also give you a moment if you want to promote your deal that you created, um, Tay's Paranormal Archives, I think it's called.
Yeah. So Tay Hamm is just my Facebook personal page, but it's professional, and that's like a hub of all the information. But all encompassing is Tay's Paranormal Archives. That is my LLC. So it's just what everything is run under, but it's all me. And I have my Facebook, and then TikTok is where I post the funny videos. That's Tay's Paranormal Archives. And Instagram, I'm trying to grow again. That's Tay's Paranormal Archives as well.
Okay. Well, very cool. And so before we call it a night, and again, I thank you for spending this time with us. Is there any message or any, insight that you, in your years as a paranormal investigator, would like to impart on people who may be watching and may be thinking about paranormal investigating, or may be seasoned investigators, but still everybody could use some help?
My best advice is to keep an open mind about everything and don't be afraid to ask. We, as investigators, know a lot of different things. Everybody brings something different from the table. So if you find somebody that you like in your area, don't be afraid to ask to go on a ghost hunt with them. That's how I got into it, was just finding people on Facebook and seeing what they're scheduled for and just like messaging them and be like, hey, can I join y'all? Like, I'll pay. Be prepared to pay like 20 or 30 bucks just to, save your space. But just don't be afraid to talk to people. And because that's how I got in. You just kind of have to do it.
No, that's perfectly exactly truth. Is, people will reach out to one person and be like, hey, I see you're doing this. And you're like, yeah, I do sometimes. So how do I find people? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to go into groups. You got to find
Social
some
media,
groups.
yeah. And Facebook groups. Like we have like a DFW paranormal something. I'm going to tag some on my page. I'm going to do that. But there's a lot. You just type in random words like that, like DFW paranormal group, and it'll pull up a group, with a lot of people posting. So yeah.
Well, very cool. And so before you head it out, I just want to say to you, from my heart and the heart of my show, to you, thank you for what you're doing for the paranormal community. And thank you for what you do, period, for being you and bringing some fun back into it.
That was my goal. Bring some light into the dark paranormal world.
Yeah, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And so I know you gave me some social media links and they're in the description, but if people want to reach out to you for, services such as, help with locations, or maybe just want to team up and collaborate, maybe, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Facebook messaging is where a lot of people contact me because that's usually where they come across me. And, my email is just taysparanormalarchives@gmail.com, as well as I have my website linked. It's Canva. It's a landing page, but it's where all my information is, where you can contact me. But I mean, businesses are so casual now. Facebook messaging and TikTok is how I get a lot of customers, actually. So, yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, thank you, and thank you for sharing your time with us. And in full transparency, I will say that she is on a fun adventure right now, so she took time out to do this. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. We're going to call it down. And thank you so much. And anytime, if you feel like you had fun and you have something you want to promote, just message me. We'll see about bringing you back on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode. Good night.
Bye.